Hello, in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up a CI/CD configuration in GitLab to execute a Playwright automated test project and integrate the test results with TestRail using the TestRail CLI. You can find the sample project on the TestRail GitHub repository. I've already pushed the code to my GitLab repository, as you can see on the screen, and the Playwright project is already configured to generate a JUnit report in a specific path, defined in the playwright.config.js file. If I scroll down to reporters, you can see the JUnit reporter configured to output an XML to this particular path. The artifacts output directory is also configured to use the same path with the output dir key, so you can easily upload any test artifacts, like screenshots and logs. Keep in mind that the JUnit report is the key to integrate any testing tool with TestRail using the TestRail CLI. Now, let's go back. As the test project is already fully set up, let's go straight into configuring the test execution pipeline. You can quickly do that by clicking on the Setup CI/CD shortcut button. Pipelines in GitLab are configured using a YAML file, where you can define your stages, the jobs for each stage, and the actions that each job is going to perform. What I'm going to do is create a new YAML file with a particular name in the root file repository, so GitLab will detect it and execute my pipeline. Let's click Configure Pipeline, and let's start building. GitLab provides a template with some documentation references in the usual software development stages: build, test, and deploy. Below, you will find the jobs that would be executed in each stage, such as the build job, the unit test job, etc. But let's clean this up and create my own pipeline to execute the Playwright automated test project and submit the test results to TestRail. The stages are execute automated tests and upload test results, which will run in a sequence. So let's add them in. Now, let's define the jobs I need to actually implement these actions. I'm going to start with the Playwright test job. Let's paste it in below our stages. The job runs the automated tests, so it belongs to the execute automated tests stage, and they will run in a container using the node image, which is a prerequisite for Playwright. To actually run the project, I'm using shell scripts, which will install all the required dependencies and execute the tests. You can see this will install the Playwright project, the dependencies, and then execute the tests. Next, I need to implement the job to upload the results using the TestRail CLI. I'm calling it TRCLI upload test results. I'm adding it right below this one. This job will be executed in the upload test results stage in a container with the Python image, because the CLI tool is developed using Python. To install and run the CLI, I'm also using shell scripts. The first one is pip install trcli, and then you call the CLI itself right here. It only requires a few parameters, starting with the TestRail instance and access credentials, the H, U, and P options, as well as the project you want to upload your results to, which is this one right here. Then, I have the parse JUnit option, which requires the path to the JUnit results XML file with the F option, which I've configured in the project to be the one you see on the script. I also added the title for the new test run right here. Last, but not least importantly, I'm adding a description with the link back to the pipeline that generated the test run. This is important to maintain traceability between test runs in TestRail and pipelines in GitLab, so you can debug tests faster. The jobs I just configured are fine by themselves, but let's do a couple more configurations to connect some dots. Firstly, I need the allow failure on the Playwright's test job, so the pipeline doesn't stop before sending the results to TestRail in case of failed tests. Let's add it in right after our script. Then, I need to make sure I can access the report generated in the Playwright test job in the upload results job. So, you must save the artifacts in the first job using the artifacts configuration to add the path to my reports folder. Let's just paste this here. It has our artifacts key. This is always going to be executed, so artifacts will always be saved. And the artifacts are in this path, which I've configured in the Playwright's test project. For last, you must set the Playwright test job as a dependency of the upload results job in order to grant access to the shared artifacts. You can do so by using the dependencies key, which I will add at the bottom of this job. The dependencies are the Playwright tests job. Now, it's all set. I can simply commit the changes, and the pipeline will be automatically triggered. Let's click the button and follow the execution. You can see that the pipeline was immediately created for this commit. If you click on the pipeline, you will be redirected to the pipeline page, and you can see that the stages are running. The Execute Automated Tests stage, and the Upload Test Results stage. The first one to go is the Playwright test job. If you open it, you can see the logs for the execution. The project is being installed, and it's also downloading the browsers to run the tests. Then, the tests actually start. It's now executing 7 tests, using 1 worker. The first test passed. The second one failed. The following tests all passed, and the job also exits with an exit code 1 because one of the tests failed. But it's still going to trigger the next stage because we added the allow failure as true. So, let's go back to the pipeline and check out the upload of the test results, which is just starting. In just a few seconds, the TestRail CLI was executed. It was able to parse the JUnit report, log into TestRail, check the project, create all the test cases, create a test run with the link here, and also add the results. The CLI also uploaded one attachment to help you debug the failure. If I click the link to TestRail, I will be redirected straight to the test run. This is the test run that was generated by our pipeline. You can see all the tests here. From 7 tests, 1 failed. If I open this test, I can see information, such as the steps, some error logs, the stack trace for this error, and a screenshot attached. By opening it, you may get more information on what happened. Notice that all these tests were automatically created. They didn't exist in TestRail previously. They were created, and the results were submitted to the respective tests. In case you need to check if anything went wrong with the pipeline itself, or check any error logs, you can just click on the link here to be redirected to the pipeline, where you can further debug test errors. That's it. With the support of the TestRail CLI, you can use a simple configuration file and some basic shell scripting to easily integrate your automated test results using GitLab CI/CD pipelines. With this pipeline in place, you'll be able to manage all your testing efforts in a single source of truth, creating valuable insights on test automation efforts.